late in the midnight hour, when you really feel like you need a little love and the man ain't nowhere around, and that can get to you sometimes. Early in the morning, when you really feel like you need someone to hold on to, the man ain't nowhere around, and that can really get to you sometimes. But what gets to you most of all is when the holidays roll around. You gotta always be by yourself, 'cause that's the time when the families get together. All the in-laws come to visit.
So here we are, another Friday, another That album, joined by my brother Erik Jackson, and today we're doing Caught Up, Millie Jackson.
Deep soul.
Yeah. So, album from 1974. Interesting year. In the UK, New Year's Day was designated a public holiday for the first time. British Airways was formed out of BOAC, BEA, Cambrian and Northeastern Airlines. Kate Moss, Olivier Coleman, Robbie Williams, Matt Lucas, Posh Spice were all born. Jacob Bronowski and Nick Drake died. Some interesting films in the year: Death Wish, Blazing Saddles, Towering Inferno, Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Good albums: Queen 2, Autobahn, El Dorado, Natty Dread, Waterloo, ABBA, good Swedish band, Rags to Rufus that we've done here, and Fedra that we've done here. So an interesting year, interesting albums, and this. So why this album, Erik?
So while I would like to put out a question to the audience, how many, please tell me, have heard of Millie Jackson before this program? It would be interesting to see if any one of you have heard her. She is, I would say, outside her own community, the black community, almost unknown.
I had never heard of her. So my first check was the obvious check. Yes. Was she related to Michael Jackson?
Yes.
Well, I mean, black artists in the music industry is not unreasonable. There are so many Jacksons out there, aren't there? That actually it could have been one of them. But no, obviously not.
She has as far as you can go from Jackson's family.
Yeah,
not heard of, not me, yes.
Yeah, not heard of Millie. I certainly hadn't. I had never heard of Millie Jackson, and I had never heard Millie Jackson to the best.
Do you know how many albums she has made?
No.
29.
29 albums.
And guess how many I own?
29.
28.
What a failure.
It's an odd live album in Japan that I've never seen before. Never stumbled on it. So that is a very rare. I don't know how many.
Jesse Jackson's aren't. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
So I have 28. So this is my queen, and I can't understand why, as a Swedish teenager, white boy, fall in love with a very black woman that speak to poor black people. So she said her audiences, for instance, those that were buying Diana Ross were not buying her.
No.
So she's, as far as the Motown sound. Motown sound is a little bit happy, positive, cleaned up music. But her music is very straightforward. And that's why she had difficulties actually to be played on some radio stations. Because she didn't sugarcoat. She tell it like it is. Very brutal, very honest, very open in her language. And that's why she never crossed over. and she was not interested in crossover. She has said that the white folks would like to cross over to me. She was not interested to do anything to adapt.
Yeah. I mean, it's my notes on this. Critically acclaimed album, released in '74, widely regarded as one of her finest works and a landmark in the
Yes.
soul R&B genres. A concept album, actually quite unusual
Yes.
for this time, 1974. A concept album, although I must be honest and say, as I listened to it the first time, I thought, this is a bit of an unburdening, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, I assume this is an autobiographical story, and
Yeah, part. Yes, that's true.
yeah, and I mean, it did make me feel a little bit uncomfortable at times, frankly.
Ah. Because of the language or the message?
Yeah, because of the message. The language doesn't bother me. I swear,
Okay.
I swear more than most people, as you know. But yeah, I mean, the fact she is having an affair with a married man, and the whole story is basically about her affair with the married man and how it is.
First side A, side
Yeah, yeah.
B, it's the woman, or yeah, the Mrs.
But
Yeah.
it is the story of infidelity, isn't it? It
Yes.
is the story of forbidden love, and
Yes.
the way she writes it,
Yes.
there's a lot of spite in there, isn't
Yes.
there? And a
Yes.
lot of yeah, I found this quite a difficult listen, actually.
It's interesting to say that you say this because uh, most of her audience was not only black, but it was only women that bought her records because the black men were not fond of her. So on her concerts that were sold out, every concert, it was the women that dragged the men. Some men did refuse to go to follow their wives or girlfriends to her concerts because of she's very open and critical to men. Yes.
She is, but that said, you know, she was very attractive, very sexy,
Yeah.
very. I would have thought that would have been she would have been selling to a male audience.
Yes. So she has a completely different background from almost every singer because the classic soul singer is coming from a Baptist church, been singing from a kid from church and
Yeah, yeah.
learn how to sing. She actually started as already when she was a teenager as a fashion model.
Right, that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, and then slipped into this by coincidence. So singing was not her intention, but she has a confidence out of this world, and and that's
Yeah.
how it started because there was a bet. They were in a restaurant at a nightclub, and one evening, and this is late '60s. So she was born 1944, so she is
Yeah.
81 today. So she was in her late 20s when she said, "Oh, this singer, she's terrible. I can do it better." And then her friends at the time said, "Well, I bet you can't. I bet you don't dare." "Oh, of course I dare," she said. And she won a bet. They bet her $5. She wouldn't do it, and she wouldn't succeed. But she went up and sang, and someone in the audience was listening to her, and thought she's rather good.
Mm.
So he approached her afterwards. She did one song, and that's it. And afterwards, this guy said, "Would you want like to follow me to sing in small restaurants and so on?" And he offered her $15, and this was in the '60s. And she said, "Wow, yeah, why not?" But the thing was that that guy blew her on her gosh, the $15. So she did the gig, but didn't she get any money. But at that stage, at that next stage, there was a serious guy who heard her, agent,
Mm.
and offered her a job, and then how she started.
So should we have a listen to the first song?
Yes,
If loving you is wrong, I
it's
don't want to be right.
it's almost 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's three songs, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes in.
Yeah. So the first bit of the song.
This is the mistress.
Yeah, and well, I mean, it's my first introduction
Yes.
to Millie Jackson.
If loving you is wrong, I don't wanna be right. If being right means being without you, I'd rather live alone to a lie. Your mama and daddy say it's a shame, it's a downright disgrace. But long as I got you by my side, I don't care what your people say. My friends tell me it's no future in love and a married man. If I can't see you when I want, I'll have to see you when I can. If loving you is wrong, I don't wanna be right. If loving you is so wrong, baby, I don't wanna be right. Am I wrong to fall so deeply in love with you? When you have a wife and two little children depending on
Yeah, I mean, it's already I'm starting to kind of a bit uncomfortable, really.
But can you hear the musicians?
Yeah,
Do you recognize the sound?
uh, uh, sort of.
Muscle Shoals, the Swampers. We had, if you remember, the first review I did was Aretha Franklin,
Mm.
and she did on that album. She did two songs at Muscle Shoals, and then they almost started to fight, so they had to move back to New York. But the Swampers are famous in everyone that knows about soul because they were so good and
Mm.
unbelievable. And Bobby Womack have said that he was shocked when he came and did his couple of first albums because the Swampers were white young teenagers.
Mm.
So you can't
Yeah, you
hear
can't
the
hear that
color
at all.
of the
No,
skin.
absolutely.
So that's the fascinating thing, that everything they touched down in Muscle Shoals become classics.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, I was captivated by her voice. You know,
Yes.
from the very first time she opens her mouth, it's like the very best of black female singers of this era. So my favourite has always been Etta James, and it's that kind of rich, kind of
Yes.
Ella Fitzgeraldy kind of sound that I love that she's got in abundance. So this kind of intro bit segues into the rap,
Yes.
which is the middle part of the song, which is a spoken interlude. And she has got gorgeous voice for speaking as well, hasn't she? I mean, it's just, I'm in love with her.
Yeah. I'm happy to see that I'm not the only one that is in love with her. And this was by coincidence in the restaurant. I don't know. I think more over here there is more culture with musicians in restaurants and nightclubs playing. And the thing with performing at a stage like that is that most people are not so, they don't come to the restaurant or the nightclub for listening to music. Most come for the booze and the food.
Yeah.
So reaching the audience is a challenge.
Yeah.
And since she was from the beginning not a singer, she was a little bit afraid because people actually are very outspoken here. So they started to speak with her. And her friends then said, well, you have to challenge them. Don't showing your weakness. So she started, and she grew up uh, uh, with her. I go back a little bit. Her mother died at a very early stage when she was 1 or 2.
Right.
And her father was a sharecropper, and and there was a party almost every weekend in his house. And she, as a young girl, heard a lot of things. And she by nature she learned how to talk to people and understand what you to say, and that becomes successful because people were not anticipated her roughness, and she was funny, natural funny. That's how they said this works. If it works on the stage, we should try it also on an album.
Yeah. So I really like this. In my notes, key lyric here: "If love is a game and sometimes you lose."
Yes.
So I think that sums up the kind of the whole album, really, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
so here we go. This is track 2, the rap.
You see, the terrible thing about being in love with a married man is the fact that you can't see him when you really want to. And that can get to you sometimes. Late in the midnight hour, when you really feel like you need a little love and the man ain't nowhere around. And that can get to you sometimes.
I mean, this has got that lovely smoky club bar
Yes.
feel about it, hasn't it? Where there's very much a dialogue with the audience, and it's very compelling. And I guess that's part of the reason with this that it made me feel a bit like I was. I don't know. I was almost listening into her conversation and looking into her life, almost voyeuristic, and it's just really unpleasant because she's so compelling. You get all of the sort of sense and the emotion of this, don't you, of what she's going through.
And also the dialogue between her and the musicians, because she's like talking with them and they are responding. Especially Jimmy Johnson is the guy on guitar. You can hear her say something, and then he replies with his guitar, and then she says something, and then he replies with the guitar. It's, for me, it's absolutely fascinating how the production. It's brilliant.
It says in my notes here, Jackson started doing rap interludes to get the attention of the audience. They were so
Yes.
popular that she incorporated many of them into her songs.
Yes.
And yeah, I get that. It was born out of necessity to begin with, and
Yes.
then becomes
Become a trademark. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So then this is wrapped off with "If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right." Reprise, just to kind of tail off that like you said 10-minute song, but broken into 3 distinct
Yes.
sections.
I don't wanna be right this morning. I don't wanna be right. No, baby. I don't wanna be right. No, baby. I don't care what my friends say about me. I'm gonna keep on loving you. I don't care what your parents say about us. I'm gonna keep on loving you.
Yeah, I mean the scale of this is almost like a big band sort of sound, isn't it? With her
Yes.
kind of riffing over the top. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that's really interesting about a lot of the artists that you've brought, um, they've had an incredible vocal ability,
Yes.
and the album has not been like showing off, but it's been a real showcase for that vocal skill. And here, this is another good example of that, I think.
Yes. Yes. I'm happy that you hear what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what's there not to like?
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing that some journalists have thought that she could have done more of her sales. I mean, although she did 29 albums, but she could have sold more. But she was not interested in crossover to the white audience. She said she needed to be true to herself. This was her. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, and I think that it's there are some artists where you definitely feel that they've sold out, and I think that the music industry is one of those sad environments where, in the hunt for adoration and success, people kind of prostitute themselves to what they think or what the record company tells them their fans want. And that's why drug addiction and early death is so common, because people lose a sense of who they are because they don't do what she's done, which is like, this is who I am. You know, I'll sell half as many records, but at least this is, you're hearing who I am,
Yes.
rather than this kind of morphing where, you know, they take people and they form them into whatever image they think they need to be, and the person has no idea of who they are.
Yes. So Andrew says, "Is loving you is wrong." The lyrics has been borrowed. The funny thing is, this is actually a cover. So the original artist Luther Ingram made it 72. I when I heard it, I thought she did the first version, and then by coincidence, a couple of years later, I understood it was not the first version. So I listened to the original, but as many people have said among music journalists, that she did it her way, so strong that it feels like the original is not as strong as the
Yeah,
original.
well, that's I think
So
that's
she made it her
yeah.
song.
Off,
Yes,
okay. Is that her behind you on the phone?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yeah,
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 nice.
yeah. That's her one of her albums. Yeah,
Yeah. What one of the 28 that you?
yes, yeah. You have Feeling Bitchy.
Yeah,
Another one. Yeah, there's just lots.
yeah,
So that was the album was on the shelf for 6 months actually. So they did it in 2 months, May, June, 74, but they didn't launch it until November. They were hesitant because of the concept, and they got some feedback from some journalists, music radio uh, disc jockeys, that they were they thought it was complicated, the album, since the album is, as you said, the songs go into each other. So it's, you could say, the first side, A side, is only one long song, but it goes on. So they have difficulties to find where should I start and where should I stop.
yeah.
So it was not made easy. But when there was one radio DJ that heard the title, the first song, and he started to play it, and then it became popular. So they didn't even have a single. After he started to play it, people asked for the single, and they didn't have it. They had an album.
Yeah, well, actually, this next song, "All I Want Is a Fighting Chance," this is my favourite song from the album.
Okay,
Yeah, I think this is tremendous.
even better than the first. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I just think this is
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah, let's play it.
So here we go, track 4.
Mrs. Jody over there. Mrs. Jody!
Yes.
You know, I'm like an old relative of yours. I know you don't know me, but since I've been going with your husband for the past year and a half,
With my husband.
that was sort of like make us wife-in-laws. You know what I mean?
Make us wives-in-laws. Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? What?
That things, although it's awful, it does make me laugh every time. I love that. Makes us wives-in-law. That's just fantastic.
The hell are you talking about?
All I want is a fighting chance. The rules of the game to be fair. Since all this fair and love and war is worldwide to be declared. Ow! Call out your army or let your navy. Bring out your reserves and marines. 'Cause I'm the
Yeah, I mean, this has got that 1970s kind of Harlem club vibe about it, hasn't it? That
Yes.
I have always found. I guess growing up on a diet of kind of American cop shows like Starsky and Hutch, you know, this was a lot of the stuff that was playing in the background for those.
Yes.
So this is a nice kind of revisit of my childhood, I guess, in many ways.
Yes. Play it more. We stopped too early.
swell in the phone. He's been attacked by my love machine. 'Cause all I want is a fighting chance. A fight it is going to be. Give me an inch, I'll take me a mile. 'Cause you're dealing with TNT. Just TNT. I'm a bone. Your man is set off right now.
Yeah, reading my notes, and I could find loads about this album and her, but there are some like blanks as well. But it's Jackson has always been fiercely private about her personal life, but has spoken openly about her struggles and triumphs in the music industry. She's known for her resilience and determination to stay true to herself, both as an artist and as a person, and that's a very attractive trait, isn't it, in some way?
Yes. So she was married once, and the marriage only lasted a couple of months. And she explained that her then husband, for a couple of months, he wanted to make her and them as a couple into a Ike and Tina Turner.
Wow.
And she said, "No, forget
That's
it.
not happening.
Goodbye, and that's it."
Yeah. It's certainly a woman who knows her own mind, I suspect.
Yes.
So on to I'm Tired of Hiding.
Yeah, that's the last song on A side as a mistress. Yeah. The last
Yeah,
mistress.
so I couldn't find much about this.
No, this is it. They only did one single from the album, and that was the If Loving You Is Wrong on the A side, and then the rap on B side. That was although the album made it gold. So she made 3 gold records, and this was her first gold record. But the rest was never singles.
Okay.
Darling, I met your wife today, and I said a whole lot of terrible things that I should be sorry for, but I'm not. I'm ashamed, but I'm not sorry. Simply because I'm tired of having to sneak around everywhere we go. I wanna feel free to be with you. I don't care who knows. How long do you think that I can live this way? Needing you only at nighttime and longing for you every day. There's gotta be some changes made. Oh, right now in your life, you gotta make up your mind. It's either me or your wife, because I'm tired of hiding. Tired of those second-class places. I'm tired of hiding.
I do love the way that the harmony and key changes through this, just really beautifully beautifully harmonized.
So the funny thing is, she never writes the music. What she done is she's writing the lyrics,
Right.
and then they fill up with music. So she comes up with the concept. So the funny thing was that when they went down to Muscle Shoals Studios, she had the first in her already prepared, the first side. But then, when they were ready with first side, the musician said, because they didn't, she hadn't any more material, and then during during the days they did side A, she came up with the idea. Well, let's turn the page, turn the table, and do the Mrs. the wife version, and that's how they did. So that the side B is much more improvised than the side A. Funny enough, but they did it in 2 months only.
Yeah, so it's all over bar the shouting, and this tells the story of the wife discovering her husband's infidelity.
Yes.
Yeah, the key lyric from this: "It's all over bar the shouting, and I'm through with you."
Yes, understandable.
Telling me you found a new love, but we must stay together for the sake of our child. Now I'm supposed to feel for your fatherly instincts when you've been practicing baby making all the while. Well, no, it's all over. But the shout, and the shout it is going to be. It's all over. But the shouting, and the shouting's gonna be done by me. You expect me to go on living with you, on pretending everything is okay. A house without love, just
Yeah, I mean, it's turned the tables. It's interesting that it's one of the things that I found when I listened to this album was that there's a great diversity of how the music is presented. So there's a couple of tracks that are almost like David Crosby kind of, guitar and quite light, and then there's some of it is sort of like big bandy, and some of it is Harlem funk and stuff. And there's lots of different ways of presenting this message in the album, aren't there?
And mind you, it's the same guys on. It's the Swampers. Those guys, they did the whole album. So that's how skilled they are. These guys, to have that you, as you said, you got the different feelings. But usually, when you do a record, you do one side with one album with one musicians.
Yeah.
Then you go the other side with another productions, another musicians. But no, this is, and as Andrew said, hints of Isaac Hayes and Bobby Womack. That is so true, because Bobby Womack did his in Muscle Shoals, and she also did a duet album with Isaac Hayes. So yeah, they
Right.
match each other. Yeah.
So easygoing, so hard coming back.
Yes.
Again, this is a track where I haven't really got much on this.
Oh, neither do I. Yeah.
Let's just have a listen.
it was so easy for you to say goodbye. I know you now realize that you made a mistake. But you took my heart. At least let me keep some pride for myself. Cause even now I would consider taking you back. But darling, it's the way you left. You just walked away without a word to say. word leaving. Oh, you got your hat thrown across your back and just walk right on out the door. Oh, but now you begin to realize that I'm not yours anymore. Now you find yourself trying to trace your track. Hey, 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 baby. It was easy leaving you, baby.
It's just amazing, her voice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's yeah. I have to capitulate. I have no resistance to her.
Yeah, no, it is. It is remarkable, but like Andrew said, it is a hell of a subject matter. You don't have this kind of thing covered these days, and I do see why, because I'm kind of torn between this kind of really not wanting to hear this stuff and wanting to hear the music, and it's an interesting kind of tug of war going on.
Yes, yeah.
I think.
And that
Sorry, go
yeah,
on.
that she was very as you have noted, she's a very strong woman, and usually the record companies are in charge when they do the production and so on. So there is a funny story about this album, because this is her number 4. So she had previously done 3, and then they said this was the album concept by Millie Jackson, and she hit the ceiling because she did everything. And so I'm now reading from an interview. I stood in the middle of the floor and cussed like a banshee. And finally, the Spring Records boss said, "Can we please go to lunch? You're gonna be the death of me, and we will put it on your tombstone, produced by Millie Jackson." So that was important for her.
Yeah, and I kind of understand why. Because I think so often in this period, a black woman in an industry which is dominated by men and largely, in many cases, white men. If she's doing the work, she wants to get the recognition for it,
Yes,
and
yes.
I totally respect that. So I'm through trying to prove my love to you, not to you, but
No.
um,
Andrew, this is funny because this is the music is made by Bobby Womack.
ah,
Next song, yeah. So the music is Bobby Womack and the lyrics Millie.
I'll take the responsibility for this breakup, because I know I'm a lot responsible for it. But I didn't realize what was happening until it was much too late. I thought I was being a good wife. Since then, there has been times when I've hated myself for not being woman enough to tell you what was really on my mind. Now I realize that was a mistake. A mistake I would like to correct now. Oh, I'm through trying to prove my love to you. I'm through, baby, yeah. Oh man, I'm through. Sometimes I had to give up the right when I knew it was wrong. But I believe I can stand baby face on my very.
Yeah, I mean that kind of the rap bit at the start, the talking bit, and then into the song and hearing the full power of her voice again. Absolutely amazing contrast between the two. Now, we're about to approach the last track from the original release, but on Apple Music, like often is the case, they bundle in some additional kind of tracks and things that didn't make it out onto the first release, like the deluxe CD or whatever. And I'm quite keen to play the previously unreleased version of "I'm Tired of Hiding."
Yeah, I have it also. I also have this extra CD. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably it's that one. But House for Sale is also very good.
Okay, well, we'll have a burst of that as well then. So this next one, "Summer," is the last track from the original release.
And here is so the Summer for the first time. It's also the cover. So it starts with the cover, it's end with the cover, and this cover is also better than the original because she has swept the lyrics. Usually, in the original, it's a young man becoming a man, and here she sings that she is a young woman becoming a woman.
Right.
If you listen to the lyrics, 17.
Was a hot afternoon, the last day of June. The sun was a deep. The clouds were afraid, 110 in the shade, and the pavement was steaming. I told Ellie Mae in a red Chevrolet I needed some time for thinking. I was just passing by when I caught your little eye, and I swore it was raining. You were 31, I was 17. I knew nothing but love, you knew everything. But I sat.
That's a great lyric, isn't it? I was 7. I knew nothing about love. You knew everything. Absolutely.
Down beside you on the front porch swing, wondering what the coming night would bring. What would it bring? Hey. Oh. The sun closed your eyes as it climbed in the sky, and it started to swim. The sweat trickled down the front of my gown. I thought it would melt. I drew back.
I mean, a great end to the first release of the album.
Yeah, so my favorite is the first and the last, actually, the two covers. Because I think that the ending is superb. It's time to say, because the last lyrics, it says, it's time to goodbye.
Yeah, well, let's play the very end then.
So I think that ending is the best ending I ever heard on an album.
Yeah, it is very good, and it does draw a line under it. And I think that so the reason I wanted to play the next track, "I'm Tired of Hiding," is that this I thought, well, that wasn't part of the proper album. This is my best the one that I like most on the whole album that I've got here, all 13 tracks of it, because I just thought this was just. I don't know why this wasn't the one that was released on the album.
It's the first take.
But that's often
First take.
yeah.
Yes.
Darling, I met your wife today, and I said a lot of terrible things that I should be sorry for. But I'm not. I'm ashamed, but I'm not sorry. Simply because I'm tired of having to sneak around everywhere we go. I wanna feel free to be with you. I don't care who knows. How long do you think that I can live this way? Meeting you only at nighttime, longing for you every day. It's gotta be some changes made. Oh, right now in your life, you gotta make up your mind. It's either me or your wife, because I'm tired of hiding.
Absolutely fantastic.
Because this is no production. It's just raw, the first take. You know, as you noticed, it's more focus only on her voice, and then the music is a little bit in the background.
Yeah, and I kind of I often find first takes are well, it's the kind of the spontaneity of doing it in one hit, isn't it?
Yes.
And that first time through, and I think that particularly when kind of the musicians are in the zone. So although he's a dreadful human being, Eric Clapton Unplugged is a great album for this, because if you get the DVD of it, the last track on it, which I think is Rolling and Tumbling, it's like they're just having a jam in the studio, and they switch the cameras back on and start filming it, which is why it fades in, because they've already turned it off, and it's like the concert's over, and everyone starts to get up, and then they start, oh, well, we're here, just have a bit of fun, and they start to play, and it's just it's that kind of capturing those magic moments as they happen, and I think this is one of those examples, isn't it?
She was actually famous for almost nailing the songs immediately. I read somewhere that usually the first versions were ended up as a production.
Yeah, and I think the multiple takes, they're quite interesting if you're a fan of something. They're quite interesting to go back and look at the multiple takes. But one of the things I find really amazing is when it's done multiple times, and it's like way different each time. It's like a completely different arrangement of the piece, because they're just kind of riffing and jamming. And with Helen, I did Solid Air, John Martin. And what was really interesting about that as an album was when you'd done the album and then you listened to the additional takes, they were completely different to the takes. Not just like, oh, he puts a pause in somewhere else or he does a different fill, but like completely different instruments, completely different melody in some cases. And I just think it's incredible when musicians can do that.
I'm happy that you had this CD on the extra, because the last song is a song called Northern Soul Music. Have you heard of the concept Northern Soul?
Yeah.
It was a journalist in London who also had Dave Goodin. He had also a record store, Soul City, in London.
Mm.
And he noticed that there were a lot of young people from the north asking for singles. This is the end of 60s, beginning in the 70s. So he came up with this Northern Soul. And you know, the places was Wigan Casino, Blackpool Mecca, and Twisted Wheel in Manchester. This was the three places where the Northern Soul was kind of started.
Yeah.
And this Millie Jackson A House for Sale was one of these Northern Soul hits.
Ah, right.
Exactly. So I think now you can hear,
Yeah.
the Northern Soul a little bit. It's more dance music.
Yeah, I mean the soaring strings and the kind of, it's got that that vibe about it that I know.
Yeah. So this is a parenthesis. This is nothing to do with the Millie, but a Northern Soul that become a synth hit was Tainted Love.
Yes.
Because that's Gloria Jones in the 60s, and Soft Cell heard it and made, so that's yeah, just was
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
So,
So, a really interesting album and artist. I will explore more Millie Jackson. I won't explore the album a great deal, I don't think, because it just was a bit, I don't know, it made me feel a bit uncomfortable. And seeing as, she's done 29 albums, there'll be plenty of stuff that I can listen to where I can enjoy her voice and her charisma, where...
If you would like to laugh, this is something extra. This is because then you have this conversation, discussion with the audience, live and uncensored.
Yeah,
This is good.
I will do, and I know that you're going to play a video shortly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a really interesting album, really good, difficult but good, amazing artist, absolutely amazing artist. Like I said, and I'm not joking, I've fallen in love with her a little bit, because just what an amazing voice and what strength and not being wavered from her true self and who she is. So next week, I'm being joined by Ellen Kumar, and it's a bit of a change of pace, going from this to True Colours, Cyndi Lauper, which is a great album, great artist, seems like a really nice person as well.
Yes.
So that will be fun, and certainly a contrast from this. But yeah, so you've got a video from Millie that
from London, live from London.
Yeah, which I think is, I mean, you played a little bit of it to me beforehand. You have to excuse the bad language, but it's nothing worse than Gary Vee would say on a video, and that would be shared on all these platforms anyway. So put it on and let's have a bit of fun, and we'll use this to play ourselves out.
Yes, thank you, Brian, guys.
Thank you, Erik, and thank you everyone in the audience.
Is anybody curious as to why I haven't said fuck all night? gonna make up for it right now. We're gonna give you a little classical music. You must be quiet and, really get into this to appreciate it. Maestro? Fuck you. Fuck you. Don't worry. Fuck you.